Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 40 of the Illustrated Podcast.
40.
Oh, holy fuck. I mean, oh yeah, man, we got some interesting stuff to talk about, and I know Tyler got something to rant on.
I'm going to rant big time.
Why not just get that out of the way first?
Okay. This is about Vince McMahon. You know where I'm going with this shit.
Oh yeah, that was one of the topics I actually had written down in my notes.
Let's get that out of your notes. Let's cross this off your notes here.
Oh yeah.
You mean to tell me you want to weasel your stupid ass right back into the company after all these lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, countless women coming into the picture here. Wait, what was the comment?
Yeah. So shout out to Sports PSP for the $5 super chat.
Listen, yeah. We're gonna cover that on another time. But back to the rant. But you have all these lawsuits on you, all these women saying that you sexually assaulted them and then paid them off, and then the authorities actually found the damn money, which makes all those claims accurate and true. You did actually sexually assault these women. Whew. And now you expect everything to be okay again. Oh, everything's okay. This will blow over.
To be quiet, I want to say,
and we expected this shit. We expected it, but it's still infuriating because this man's gotten away with drug dealing. Remember that drug dealing?
That was back in 1993. The Owen Hart
drug distribution and drug dealing is what he did. What else did he do?
Owen
Hart, which is basically, without actually being murder, you could say it was murder, making him do that stunt.
So first of all, Jono, we're pretty much getting the biggest elephant.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon, that idiot. That's who we were talking about. And then years later, it comes out he had sexually assaulted numerous women in the company and paid them off with hush money, using company money.
Yeah, and
which makes the situation even worse.
I'm going to say, add my two thoughts. This is what happens when a man that has way too much money, like, it just seems to me that it feels like the authorities are not going to care.
He paid him off. He definitely paid him off. He would have been able to weasel his way back into the company if he didn't pay him off. He paid him off.
Well, not just that too. Well, that too, and also got to take into consideration that he's got one of the best lawyers in the court, and that's another good point by Damien too. The entire Benoit situation,
he covered it up. You want to know why? Because after that, let's not talk about Benoit. Let's not talk about the situation. And then he tried to make this bullcrap, the whatchamacallit, the wellness policy crap. That's still not working.
Yeah, I mean,
you have a wrestler named Matt Riddle who came out and said he did cocaine. Cocaine. That's why he hasn't been on TV for a good amount of time, because he did cocaine.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, too, that's the second wellness. He's usually, after you've violated 3 times, you're already out of the company. But no, that's how it's been changed.
But, yeah, but he's not even fired. He's not fired for doing cocaine.
It's ridiculous.
I would have fired his ass.
Exactly. I mean, first of all, but it is what.
Also, he doesn't help the wrestlers. Let's look at Jeff Hardy, for instance. Oh, yeah, I'm going to bring that guy up. Numerous times he's had strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, strike 4. But I'm not going to blame Jeff Hardy on this. I'm blaming Vince. I'm blaming Vince McMahon. Tony Khan handled the situation better than Vince did. Because look what happened before. Gets canned for drugs, right? Oh, we'll put you in rehab for only a few weeks, and then we have to put you back on TV because we need you for a story. And then let's look back at 2020. Okay. And what makes it worse though, we're gonna put you in a storyline, absolutely ribbing you for it. Instead of helping you. We're ribbing you for it.
And this dude
and then 2020 happens, he's arrested for drinking because he has a drinking problem. We'll put you in rehab for a month, and then then we'll put you back on TV in a storyline where we're absolutely ribbing you for it instead of helping you. We're gonna pick on you for it.
And this is also where the hypocrisy comes.
And also the Usos with the numerous DUIs. Oh, we're gonna slap you on your wrist and then
put you in the title picture or something like that.
And we're gonna make you champions. We're gonna make you freaking champions.
Yes.
When all these cases should be either jail time or rehab. We're gonna either put you in rehab for a limited amount of time, not really help you, or we're gonna slap you on the wrist because you did something stupid. Okay, you did something stupid. Whatever. We're gonna slap you on the wrist and we're gonna make you champions. The only situation that he dealt with that was right was Velveteen Dream. That was it.
That was the only right
thing.
That
was the only thing he did right, because it came out that he was talking to freaking kids.
Yeah, and that was a whole
freaking kids. And Vincent fired his ass, and that was the right move. That was the only time he did something right.
And I will say this too, though. It's like, and look at and we also got, not just from Matt Hardy, but we've seen some other AEW stars, sharing the good news that that Jeff is actually doing a whole.
You want to know why? You want to know why he's better off? Because Tony Khan did it the right freaking way. He did it the right way. Well, I'm not putting you back on TV until you clean up your act. That's how he did it.
And for
Vince McMahon would have been like, we'll put you in rehab for about a month, but we need you on TV again. Because all he cares about is the top draw, top dollar. That's all he cares about.
It's like people don't like this. I've always said, like, money changes people.
And the money he's not using for the right reasons. He's using it to have sex with other women, non-consensual sex with other women.
And John, no, that'll be a whole double-edged sword right there. That's going to.
If only the female superstars ever did what the guys have. Do you think they would get the same? No,
probably not.
No. With Vince McMahon and his sexist ass, no.
Absolutely not.
Hell no.
Because it's like it's getting to the point where it's just like
now in AEW I like it better because the women and the men share the load. They have great storylines for the men and the women, except for that whole Jamie Hayter thing, but we'll get to that. But but the women's division isn't looked upon in WWE as a hot commodity, just like the men, because Vince McMahon is a sexist asshole.
Well, not just that too, and this you could also put the blame. This is actually both on Vince and Bruce Pritchard for ruining the women's division.
It's Vince, Bruce Pritchard, and that idiot John Laurinaitis.
Oh yeah, well, it's like we've always said, like, it's going to take years for the women's division to actually be taken seriously again.
But we saw this coming. Me, you, and I was hoping it wasn't true, but I saw it might happen, where Vince just weasels his way back.
And unfortunately,
and it happened. It happened, and it was announced that it happened, and it showed not only like on SmackDown or Raw, that's usually hit and miss sometimes, but it showed at Royal Rumble. It for sure showed at Rumble. That was a Vince move.
I mean, you could definitely tell a good portion of it had Vince written all over it. I mean,
good portion of that. And then it comes out that he booked the Omos and Brock Lesnar feud.
Like, no, oh boy,
He booked it. I'm like, yup, he's back.
That's a Vince thing.
He's freaking back.
Because it's like, because like we all know that Triple H has the final say, and at some point he's got to realize like this is not a great.
No. Now it's Vince has the final say, and if Triple H he's basically got Triple H at freaking gunpoint. You do what I say, or you're fired.
And that's good. And that's a good point by John Nell too. Like if you're not like a household name, like a big household name, like I said,
if you're not Charlotte, if you're not Becky, I mean, Bianca's new, so I don't really think
so. Give it time.
Bianca's at fault. I'm thinking if you're like one of the four horsemen, if you're not one of the four horsewomen, you're not screwed. Getting pushed. You're screwed.
I mean,
but then again, those women are getting over. So that presents an issue too, because you have women like Raquel not getting over. You got women like
Candice LeRae not getting over.
So that's part of the problem. So I don't really see that as a Vince problem. I feel like that's the women problem, because they're not really giving great. I mean, then again, it is because they're not really giving great gimmicks. The Pixie Princess thing kind of only works as a heel, not as a face. But back to the Vince thing. So you mean to tell me? So the whole thing with Vince isn't going to give up the chair until he's dead. I'm starting to believe that even more.
I've look. I'm not the kind of person to wish death upon somebody, but
honestly, at this point, the guy's not going to retire, and the only way he's going to step down is if he dies.
It's pretty much
that's the only way now. It's the only way, because that fake freaking retirement didn't work.
But that's here nor there. So we got that out of the way. But so because we got
and you know where he's going after he does pass.
Oh yeah,
he's going straight to hell.
Yep,
one-way ticket right down to hell. That's where he's going.
Sir. Okay, so I mean, we had to really get that off our chest, because that's been kind of, let's be real, that really is really pissing everybody off.
And the thing is, it was announced that he booked half of a show yesterday. That's why I'm so mad.
But yeah, so regardless. So now we're going to get into the recaps between for Raw, SmackDown, NXT. NXT we'll get to in just a second, because NXT this past week was very intriguing in a way that's leading up to NXT Roadblock, which just this coming week. So for SmackDown, we had Braun Strowman, Ricochet, and Matt Cat Moss taking on Imperium for the 6-man tag match. Obviously with Imperium getting the win. Damn it. Hey, let me go.
Breathe, man. Breathe. I only die on stream.
But yeah, and then Imperium gets the win. I mean, kind of not say given, but knowing that, well, man, SmackDown, holy crap, where do we want to? Even though this match wasn't terrible, actually was actually pretty decent for what it was.
But the crowd took me out of it, because the crowd was kind of dead.
Yeah,
they were dead. I'm like, they don't really care about this match, and them not caring makes me not want to care. And half the time, I was watching on that. You saw it on stream, because I had a tablet doing our stream.
Yeah,
I'm on my phone for the majority of this.
Yeah, and so was Mitch too.
I didn't even care. I didn't care about it.
Like the crowd reaction. Like, you were not getting it. I feel like
no, you weren't getting it. And the crowd reaction, what makes you immersed into this. That's why 2020 sucks so bad.
Because it took everything out of it.
It took everything out. It took the life out of wrestling. And the crowd noise just makes you immersed. That's why I was so immersed in the whole Sami Zayn Roman Reigns feud. Because the crowd was immersed in that match. The crowd was immersed. And I was into it. If the crowd ain't into it, and they're not buying into what you're doing, and they don't care, that's an issue. I'm not going to care.
Yeah, so, I mean, but what's good, Chad? Yeah, Don't we all, man?
That's
Because
good.
Shotzi, man, like you cannot tell me if another talented woman, but the fact that she's constantly, and that's another one I feel like she's kind of getting
The
screwed.
problem is they're booking her like they booked Ricochet a few years ago. She's on TV randomly, and then she's off
God,
TV.
for those who
She's on
kind of see
TV
it,
off. Like,
because me and Tara always complains, like, where the what, like, it's like because we were in like support of Ricochet, man. The dude's deserves a lot better, and I think at this point, I think Shotzi deserves a lot better than what they're giving her at this point.
it's like here's how they booked her. She was on TV. She's off TV. She's on TV again. Has this random ass heel turn that made no sense. It turned her face randomly, and then she's off TV. I'm like, what are they doing with her?
Because for me, I've always said, I mean, if I'm Shotzi at this point, knowing that you're not going to go anywhere for the longest time, just ask for your release. But then again, this is where, like I said, this is where the part of the hypocrisy comes in. Because like sometimes if you're not a big, and we've seen bigger stars actually get the release granted, but if you're not like, and like I said, that kind of ties into the fact that WWE is such full of hypocrisy in many ways than one. We've seen it for years. But I think Shotzi needs to go back to the independent scene. I think where she pretty much killed it, and and that's it's sad because I'm a huge fan of Shotzi. Plus, I mean, who doesn't love to take care of business, Tank, anyway? So I mean, but
yeah, the whole Tank thing that I got over. But the problem with her booking is the fact that they don't know what the hell to do with this woman. She's on, like I said, she's on TV.
Then write her off. It's like
then she's off TV. Then she's on TV. Then, like I said, the heel turn happens, and it made no sense because it was random.
And play some feuds that had no goddamn substance to it.
Play some feud that sucked. Then she's off TV, like it's her fault that the feud sucked. And then she's on TV again for a random match, and then she's off TV again. No feuds, nothing.
But yeah, we'll get to Sonya Deville in just a second because I actually want to kind of get my 2 cents on that. But we'll get to that in just a moment. But obviously, like I said, it's just, knowing that I think we know the greatest booker of all time is definitely Dusty Rhodes. I know he's probably rolling his grave just seeing how bad this booking really is. It really, but it is. We're gonna have to move on.
But I don't think he's ever booked in like WWE. He's only done NXT though.
Could you imagine if Dusty Rhodes doing NXT with the roster that it had was like women like Sol Ruka, Zoe Stark and stuff like that.
And it would pretty much be the same as it is now, kind of.
But kind of get more of a black and gold feel to it.
Yeah, but here's what I would have done. I would have actually promoted Dusty Rhodes to the main roster.
Because I mean, you ain't wrong.
But holy crap, man!
Oh man, like, oh boy. But we get to the next thing.
It's like when it comes to WWE, we can't have anything nice.
And no, we really can't. Like, it's ridiculous at this point. But regardless, then we go to the promo segment with LA Knight. I mean, who doesn't want to hear Dobby? I'm sorry, but you cannot tell me otherwise. You can't find a better man to listen to on the mic. And then you had the New Day kind of coming out doing their promo, which
why the hell? Let's just skip through the whole segment part. Why the hell?
Oh yeah.
Do you have Kofi win against LA Knight, who's a younger star?
Because
at this point in Kofi's career, he should have put over LA Knight. But no, let's have LA Knight lose a match to Kofi.
Because I think there's a few reasons. One, I think Kobe is still way over with the fans.
But
and I think
LA Knight's over too. It doesn't hurt any of them.
It really doesn't. He's another one. I think. I think sometimes I'm thinking myself, like, I think, did LA Knight really make the right choice of leaving Impact and going to WWE? Because for me, I had a really bad feeling knowing that he was going to find a way to get screwed one way or the other, no matter how big a star he really is. And obviously it showed on SmackDown Friday, on February 24th. It's just like, and oh Jesus Christ, you thought that was bad?
Here's the thing. Here's what they did to LA Knight, right? Here's what they did. NXT has a good run. That's fine. Comes up to SmackDown. He's given a bullshit gimmick of a male model thing, whatever the hell that is. Bullshit gimmick. No one liked it. It didn't get over. It's still not over. Even with the Otis situation, that's not even.
The only thing that's
over.
carried is fucking Maxine Dupree.
But yeah, the only one carrying it is Maxine Dupree. No one cares about it. But he's given that gimmick. Vince leaves because of this fake retirement. He's given the LA Knight thing back again. He's given a pretty good run. And now, again, since Vince weaseled his way back, LA Knight's getting screwed again. Yeah. He's getting screwed again.
It's like when is it enough? It's basically what we need. The WWE itself needs to ask, like, when is it enough to really stop pissing everybody off and actually give these guys, get women and men.
Here's the thing. Vince McMahon does not care who he pisses off. Doesn't matter if it's the fans, doesn't matter if it's the wrestlers, nobody. He thinks that I think he's right, that we're stupid enough to pay money to see pay-per-views, to go to shows. He's right. We are stupid. People need to stop going to shows.
For me, like this is why I had not been into like an event in the last 6 to 7 years, something like that, because it's like new. Because hell, even 2016, like the Raw before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view was.
And the only reason why he's got millions of dollars in ticket sales is because the tickets are so ridiculously goddamn expensive.
Exactly. I mean, like you've seen other.
That's the only reason why, because he wants us to fork $300, $400 even for the bad seats. $300, $400.
Yeah, I think good seats. I think almost close to like the 4 or 5, between 400 and 500, depending on who you're looking at.
Exactly. No, the ringside seats are like $1,000 freaking dollars.
Like I don't know how like
he hikes up the damn prices to make the company look good, even though they're shit.
It really is, and then at some point though, like I'm not trying to think we could try to get, but then again though, like there's a lot of times. I mean, we see we thought this was bad. I mean, there's a couple times where the government actually kind of try to kind of bust WWE for the antitrust bullshit, because they're like the main monopoly, so to speak, in terms of the competition, because like you can have competition, like that's kind of not right. And that's the things where we've seen, and I don't know if I mentioned it too, we've seen some other indie shows actually, let's be honest, get sold out, even though there might be smaller venues, but they actually know how to put on really good shows. And I have to give AEW a lot of credit too. They actually are very, even though their shows have been.
And here's the difference. Here's the absolute difference. It's because Tony Khan cares about the wrestlers. He cares about the business. He cares about the fans.
Even though we do criticize him a lot for his booking decisions, but that's besides the
point. He's got shoddy booking, and yes, he has an issue with that. But he still goes out of his way for the fans.
Yeah, and
Vince McMahon, he doesn't. Oh! I made a mistake here. I don't give a shit. You watch it and shut up.
Say, like, fork over your money, basically. Exactly.
Fork over $300, $400 and buy a ticket and shut up.
And it's like,
because I have more money than you. You're a peasant. I'm the man. I'm the king. It's basically what it is. The king peasant thing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But going off a little bit of tangent, then we get to probably one of the worst face-offs that I've ever seen on SmackDown television between Charlotte and Rhea. Even though we were supposed to get, but no, you had to, keep having let Dom do the dirty work, and for Rhea. And oh boy, where do I even begin with that? God damn,
bro. Charlotte put over Andrade before, and Andrade don't even work there anymore.
And that's kind of, even though as much as we hate her, but we had to give her a little bit of props for that.
Dude, I'm giving her so many props with that. That shit was funny.
The fact that she roasted his ass too, it's like
she goes, I got a man that calls me mommy at home. I'm like, oh shit.
That's what I gotta. Oh well, but yeah. So as much as we hate Charlotte Flair, we know that she's gonna get her ass whooped at WrestleMania.
Listen. I don't like the character. I don't like the fact that she's using that character to get these title shots, one after another. And it's not her fault that she keep getting these title shots. It's that the company just cares about her too much.
Because I feel like I've seen moments where Charlotte actually, I think she was willing to put some talent over. I'm not mistaken too. There was some instances where she has actually put talent over, but like I said, they're still continuing to think highly of her and that kind of brings back to the point where it's like, if you're not really, we see,
and I was really thinking about it too. Why? Like, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, we don't like the fact that she keeps getting title shot after title shot after title shot, but is it really her fault? I don't think it is. It's booking. It's the bookers that are doing this, not her.
Because look, don't get me wrong, she is talented. I'll have to give her that. But knowing the fact that now that we just thought about it, it's like now that's because we never really thought about it until up to this point, or like just not that second ago. But then again, it is the booking decisions though, because if you think about it, like and as Earl said, like the company owes. Especially if you talk about one superstar that is, we'll talk about Ricochet getting screwed. How about another one? Another comes to mind. Remember Asuka? She's getting treated like a fucking comedy character. And it's like, what the fuck?
Jumping around, yelling, screaming.
I'm kind of pulling what Tajiri was in like what the early 2000s. It's like,
no, Tajiri was both slightly tamer than that. He was slightly tamer. He wasn't jumping around, yelling, yeah, all the goddamn
and
time.
And like a comedy gimmick. It's like,
act like a damn comedy wrestler.
And the fact that, and look at her now. I mean, sheesh.
She's basically Kana.
And basically it had to take Triple H to fix her.
But watch with Vince back, he's gonna screw this shit up.
Oh, I will not be surprised. And that's going to set everybody off. And I know one individual in particular is our buddy DJ Storms. He is going to topple.
Dude, he posted a whole ass rant on a short today about the Vince situation.
And he's not wrong. Rant.
And I absolutely agree with what he said.
Because it's like, whether you like DJ Storms or hate him, like, that's your opinion. But you have to take this to the point where, like, the company has not really been the same in what it feels like been for years. Talent, you got talented superstars, but yet the booking decisions has been flat out god awful.
God, dude. Yeah.
I mean, you can't tell me otherwise. I mean, like, this is not the first time they actually had shitty booking. This also extends back from like 2016. It's been going on for almost
2016. 2016 was actually a pretty decent year though.
Even like I said,
people say that 2016 for WWE was like the best year that they've had.
You know what? That even though at times
the worst year people say that they had was 2014. That was the worst.
Yeah, that was. But
I looked back on it, they had some shoddy books.
Oh, good lord!
2014. I obviously didn't go back to watching wrestling. I didn't actually go back to watching wrestling until 2016.
Yeah.
Actually, I dabbled in it a little bit. I tried in 2015. 2016, I was into it.
It really was. I mean, and a lot of times too. I mean, the fact that, and like I said, going back to the Charlotte thing. Look, I know, from a character standpoint, yeah, and that too. The many fucking and. Really,
I think it was because it definitely was because it's not. There's no thing about it. There's too many people on that roster,
and they had, and some just
and the majority of those people they did not even put on TV. I don't even think half of them were even on main event.
I don't think so.
Heck, I think half of them. No, you know what it was? Half of that roster was on main event. Main event had its own roster.
Yeah,
Put it this way.
that's
You could have built your own brand with main event. That's how
exactly. And knowing that, even looking and throughout the releases too, I mean, there were some that made you question why. A guy like, there's some that, yeah, if you don't have nothing for them, I mean, I think they could do better elsewhere. There's some that, most that I saw in terms of the releases were okay. I get that, but there's some like a guy like Samoa Joe. When he got released, like what?
Samoa Joe one. The Samoa Joe one. I remember being set off so bad.
That pissed everybody off because
that pissed me off because he was being booked very freaking well up to that point. And then because I think he had just finished a feud. I forgot what feud it was.
I don't know, but
he had returned early 20. It was like he returned during the pandemic. It was like during the Thunderdome era.
Oh, good lord, that
was a shit era. That was a shit era. But he came back during the Thunderdome era, and he started beating up somebody. I forgot who it was, and he was put into a program with them. And right after that program ended, he was fired.
And not to mention, and the fact that this man has not won a world championship in WWE.
And another one that set me off.
Like
Aleister Black. They were trying to book him to be on TV. They gave him his new character with a backstory. A week after they debuted him back on SmackDown, he's fired. What the hell was the point?
Exactly. I mean, if you have not watched, when he was in NXT, boy, he tore up NXT like it's nothing.
Bro,
been kicking people's heads off.
He was kicking people in the face, left and freaking right.
Dude, him and Andrade, you cannot tell me that was one of the better feuds that they had at NXT.
Great feud.
And that's another guy that I think Phil got screwed over was Andrade.
Again. That guy had all this momentum.
And just all of a sudden...
He was a U.S. champion. He was an NXT champion. He had a great... He was having a good run. Him, Zelina, and he was put into a group, I think. I forgot who it was. No, he was put into a group with Angel Garza.
Oh, yeah. And Humberto Carrillo, if I'm not mistaken, too. That kind of...
flopped. Humberto wasn't in that.
Oh, no, that's right. Humberto didn't come
It was just him and Garza. It was him and Garza. Humberto was doing his own thing.
So I'm mistaken,
Humberto didn't start tagging with Angel Garza until way after Andrade had left. Last year is when they started tagging. And that's another team that's not getting used at all. What happened to Los Lotharios, whoever their tag name was?
Actually,
with Angel Garza and Carrillo.
They're actually entertaining.
They're not even on TV anymore.
How about another team that's getting screwed over, or that's not getting over? LDF, a perfect.
But here's the thing: it's not talking about getting over. I'm talking about who's on TV and who's not.
Oh, right. That's
And Los Lotharios, they were over as hell last year. Now they're not even on TV.
It's a shame. You have potential superstars in the making, but yet shoddy booking and stuff like that, and the decision making behind the scenes, it's ridiculous to say the least.
It's literally the worst thing ever. And here's another like the whole 2020 was a dark year for the company. For the
not
talent.
Just for WWE, just for wrestling in general.
For wrestling and for the world. Not just that. For
that
the
is
world.
True.
But the whole budget cut firings and the COVID cuts and that stuff was what made WWE's situation dark for talent. Because they blamed it on budget cuts, knowing damn well they have like $2 billion, and they had $2 billion at that point. But now we know why Vince made those cuts, because he was actually secretly using that money that he was getting back for the shit he pulled.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm gonna say not Karma's not a bitch, but unfortunately, it's not.
Karma didn't hit him because he's back. Karma did not hit him at all. They swung and whiffed.
Yep. But going forward, this is another match. SmackDown on February 24th was not fantastic to watch. But what's good, Rafi?
What's good, Rafi?
We had, oh boy, can we skip this match? Like none of us were interested in this one. Natalya and Shayna Baszler.
Skip.
Yeah, and then we get to a weird ass Firefly Funhouse segment, which
Skip made no sense. Did not reveal anything. Skip.
Then we move on to the next match. We have Mysterio taking on Karrion Kross. Another guy like Tyler.
Here's the problem. He's not being misused. They're trying to push Karrion Kross. They're trying. The problem is something isn't working because he's not getting over. Something isn't working because he's basically the same dude that was in NXT that got over. Him and Scarlett, and people wanted Scarlett with him because they thought that wasn't the issue. Something else is the issue. What is the issue?
I know this might sound like a far-fetched kind of thing. I think it could be the gimmick that he's in right now.
It's not the gimmick. It can't be the gimmick. It can't be. Because it's the same gimmick as in NXT, like I said, that got over. What's not working?
That's a tough one because I mean
that's why I'm trying to figure it out.
Like what's not working?
What isn't working? Is it the matches?
I mean,
the matches are okay.
As much as I want to say yes, but the way that the state of the women's division, I don't think so.
Scarlett, I would think she would kill it if she got over, but her or Karrion isn't getting over.
Like we don't know exactly
nobody's getting over.
What the problem is.
And here's the thing: Scarlett comes out first in that whole entrance. You would think if she was getting over, she would get a pop. And then when Karrion comes out, it'd be dead silent because no one likes Karrion.
Yeah.
But they're both not getting over. None of them. And I don't get why. And they're trying to push Karrion.
Or I guess it could be to the fact that when he came back, like there was like no, and this go back to the same argument I think we all can agree to: no video packages, no vignettes, or like the fact that he's returning to the SmackDown or something like that. Like nothing to build.
That is a big issue because a lot of this talent, this returning talent that they got back.
Where's the video packages?
They don't get video packages, and that's a problem with wrestling in general. There's no video packages anymore. None of them. It's just, here I am. I'm here.
Let's just see get you over organically, and you're pretty much throwing that person into the fire. Like you're pretty much. And at times we're seeing that we
what
get
you're
it.
Supposed to do, and this is what Mick Foley said too. He flat out came out and said that there's no video packages. There's no easing these wrestlers into the fire. You're just throwing them.
Yeah, you're just throwing
them in there.
Like, this is why a lot of times it's like, and when we get to NXT, like that's the one thing that worries me a lot of times. It's because sometimes.
But here's the thing: in NXT, they're doing it the right way. Because look at Lyra Valkyria. She was given a video package.
Unfortunately,
people are like, okay, we're getting to know who she is and what her gimmick is and what her character is.
Probably the worst gimmick that I've seen so far in NXT is this Twitch streamer bullshit that is known as Steve Eternal.
Honestly, it's not a bad gimmick. It's starting to get.
But I guess it also appeals to the younger audience because nowadays it's like pretty much
appeals to, that's what Jeff ET85 said to us. It's appealing to the younger audience, and I get
actually look. Now that I mention it now, I mean when we got the chance to see her wrestle, though, I think she actually looked pretty decent.
Really good. But back to the whole video package thing now. Lyra's given
video package.
Stevie was given a video package. Everybody in NXT was giving a video package at some point in their career. Hell, Nikita Lyons had a video package.
Yeah, I mean
everybody was given a video package. And fans like, okay, we're getting to know who they are, what their gimmick is, or what their character is.
Or how about that when they get turned back to Abacado? Remember when he got a little bit of somewhat of a hint of a video package with Apollo Crews, a kind of bit of a callback, and it kind of just
and now you're like, okay, now we know where this story lies. Now we know why he's back, and what his character is, and who Dabba-Kato is, and why he attacked.
Hell, even Soruka's
Apollo.
got a video package for
So
crying out
Ruka,
loud.
but here's the thing. Now you're thinking, okay, she's from California. She's a California girl.
But what does she have to offer for the NXT brand?
She can do flippy shit, aka the flip she was doing on the beach. She can do flippy stuff. She's athletic.
Like they're actually know how they're actually kind of building up to make her to
with these video packages in NXT, you're showcasing these different perks and quirks and gimmicks.
Exactly.
While on the main roster, they're just throwing it in a match.
It pretty much it says you're pretty much just like, or like that one Simpsons episode where Mo was just like throwing people out there. That's kind of what WWE's doing. Just throw them out there, get over, try to get over.
There you go. You're on TV now. Okay. No, what you need to do is ease these people in, and also give the fans something to invest in, something to be like, okay, I know who this guy is or this female is. I know who their character is. Absolutely. I know if they're athletic or not. I know if they're good. I know if they're bad. All this other stuff. I know what their quirks are. But you need a backstory for these wrestlers, and you're not giving it to them. You're not giving it to the fans.
You're really not.
And they're not. And these characters are not getting over.
And that's the reason why we've seen, like we said, Karrion Kross, Scarlett, Candice LeRae.
That's why 95% of the women's division is over, because all of those women were given backstories. They were given video packages before their debuts.
It's moving on, because like I say, but Karrion Kross does get the win over Mysterio. But however, though, that's like we don't really want to go much further because it's a shame because I'm still a huge fan of Karrion Kross. I have. Every time I watch him on Impact, it's like what happened? Even though I get it's a PG, but what happened?
Even in goddamn Impact, he was given a video package and got over.
And the dude just tore it up in Impact. And where the hell is that? And now, granted, you have to tame it down to the PG standards, but try to
because he couldn't go full on Psycho where he was using a glove that made people bleed.
Yeah, something like that, but.
You can't do that, and Scarlett can't be sexual. Like she wasn't Impact. Oh my god, she was sexual in Impact.
Well, that's like, man, did we travel back in time to the late 90s, early 2000s? Where
put it this way, she wrestled in goddamn lingerie in Impact.
Yeah,
that's what her character.
I remember. Good lord, that was something. But then we get to our final segment for SmackDown, which I feel like this kind of saved the show a little bit. Was the Jimmy Uso promo kind of going to, I would say, keep going with the way, where does Jay lie
and the subtlety of this whole thing. Look at and Michael Cole even mentioned it in the replay. Look at Sammy and Jay look at each other. Jay looks like he wants to freaking beat the shit out of Sammy.
Yeah, that's it's been interesting, to say the least.
He looked at him like, I lied. I really don't like you. Like, oh damn. And then they ended it. They ended it with that.
On a cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. That's what you want. That's what gets people invested.
It really is.
And that's what Vince used to do in the 90s.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that.
But I think, Mercedes, that's a good question. Where the hell is she's even? I don't think she might.
She's hurt. She had to drop the title. The women's title.
Yeah, I think she. I don't know exactly what injury it is. I mean, but
hold on, let me look it up. I gotta look it up. Hold on.
Well, yeah, it's just been. Wow, I mean, I would say SmackDown as a whole, the last handful of weeks that me and Tyler have been doing SmackDown has not been terrific in terms of of where. Well, we'll get to that in just a moment because that's an interesting thing to really look at. And to be quite honest, I really.
Yeah, she's hurt. She's hurt. She's got an undisclosed injury, is what they're calling it. They haven't revealed what her injury is, but she is hurt.
Now this is interesting. So John, so where does Jay Uso? That's the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it, John Hill.
is that people are so invested, they want to see what happens next.
Because it's funny because it's like I've seen people like predicting like how like every time when you get blindsided, like someone comes out of the black hoodie, and the one prediction or one thing that I saw, I took it with a grain of salt. Like there could be a different rebel faction that can might stand up to the bloodline that had KO, Sami Zayn, and Jimmy or Jey Uso. I was thinking to myself like, I mean that could work, but then again,
I feel like it wouldn't be the bloodline because it would literally just be just 3 people. It would be Roman, Jimmy Uso, and Solo. That's it.
Also, can we get
bloodline? You need the full effect. You need Jay in there too. So I feel like Jay is going to turn on.
Yeah,
Sami.
The question is, when's it going to happen?
When's it going to happen? And that's the beauty of the story because they're really slowly building up to this whole thing.
Before we go any further, but I want to say a huge congratulations to Solo for actually tying the knot. Actually,
congratulations on getting hitched, Solo. Hell yeah, man.
I don't know, man.
If you guys were in the same situation as Jey Uso, would you guys be staying? Honestly, at that point, I would be like Jay and be conflicted. Sami, he hasn't really done anything wrong, but he did attack my family. So I probably would turn on Sami.
Yeah.
You attacked my family.
Even though it did hurt the first time, but this is going to hurt almost like more than that turn at the Royal Rumble, which that was fantastic in its own right. Yeah. Now we get to Monday Night Raw, which I thought Raw this past week was actually really good, actually, in terms of what you had on the card.
Now you get even more of the story of the Bloodline too in this because now Roman's returned.
Yeah, and we'll get to. So we open up with Raw with Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, where mostly Jimmy cut the promo. Then the Street Profits kind of come out, kind of starting their stuff with them. Montez never ceases to be.
I love that dude.
Never ceases to be entertaining. But that will lead us to in our first impromptu match with Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso taking on the Street Profits. Actually good outcome though. Let Solo and Jimmy get the win and try to keep that momentum going into Mania. I thought actually it was a really good match though between the Street Profits and Solo and Jimmy Uso.
Yeah.
But then again, anything with the Street Profits, how to put on a good match. I mean, that's kind of
Street Profits are money, and they're planning on breaking them up. It's gonna pain me to see that.
It's gonna suck.
They need to be tag team champions before they actually break up.
At least give them one more run with the tag team title.
Don't pull an Enzo and Cass on us, Davey. Please.
Or Deuce and Domino. Remember that?
I feel like this turn is going to mirror Deuce and Domino.
Because first of all,
because they were over as hell too. And then the problem was they were given the damn title.
If I'm not mistaken,
I think they were champions at one point.
They were. They were.
The first year they were champions.
And when we looked at it, when you look back at how they broke up, like Cherry was nowhere to be seen. So I was like, "Oh, what the fuck are we going to do?" And then
what happened was they started fighting over Cherry.
Oh yeah,
and Cherry didn't want nothing to do with it, so she was the first to disband. And then she's off TV. She's off TV for some fucking reason.
Yeah,
and then you have Deuce and Domino fighting with each other.
Which kind of
leads have a tag team title shot. They lose the tag team title shot. Or no, they lost against freaking Festus.
Jesse and Festus.
Jesse and freaking Festus. They lost to. And then the turn happens.
Yeah.
The worst team to freaking lose to. Jesse and freaking Festus.
I rewatched that. It's like, what the hell was that?
Biscuits and goddamn gravy.
Oh, God. And thank God Doc Gallows is no longer what he was. And
he was like this. He's
like pretty much like a guy like every time with the like what the but that's
his tongue sticking out and he's brain dead. That's his gimmick.
The only time he ever gets to wrestle is when the bell rings. It's like what the
only time he even wakes up from being brain dead is when the freaking bell rings.
But it is oh boy, it's wow. I mean, but then we get to what, well, like we mentioned, the MVP lounge segment, which kind of will lead to what we explained earlier in the show.
Now I don't even know what the hell they're doing. Now I don't even know what the hell they're doing because a few weeks ago MVP was face, now he's heel again. Like, what in the hell are you doing?
Like, it's like, yeah, what are we doing? And not to mention too,
It kind of reminds me of the whole Jamie Hayter situation in AEW. Now 1 week they're face, 1 week they're heel. Like, what are you doing?
Like, make up your freaking minds. It's like you're changing like different like.
I don't
Honestly, for me, I
understand.
really don't care if he stays all out of the ring. I'll be fine with that.
Honestly, Miz on the mic is entertaining, so I'm not mad at him hosting. Better than having racist ass Hogan there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story in its entirety. But then that leads us to, well, part of that segment. That's also when he had Brock Lesnar as one of his guests, and like we mentioned before, this all led up to, oh god, for the one match we do not want to fucking see on Mania. To be quite honest,
guess who booked it? Vincent freaking McMahon did, and it's only because Brock Lesnar did not want to go up against goddamn Bobby another time.
And there's also been talks that Bray Wyatt or Brock didn't want to.
Oh no, Bray! Oh no, that's who it was. He didn't want to face Bray. That would have been a better match than freaking Omos.
First of all, what the fuck? I mean, there's fucking with Bray even worse than when he was first there. If you think about it.
But here's the thing: it's because Brock hates him for some reason.
Like, first of all,
only problem. They were going to book Brock versus Bray.
I would not be opposed
Brock
to that.
Said no, so now they're booking Brock and Omos, which is an even worse match.
I don't know, man, but
this is Brock's fault. That's the problem.
And yeah, well, we don't know that Brock is lazy as fucking hell, so I mean, we get.
And it's also Vince's fault that he's catering to freaking Brock Lesnar.
Just first of all, like, because for me, I'm going to be one of those people. Like, I don't care if you're not going to do like Witcher's.
If you're not gonna, you're like, okay, fine. You don't want to face.
Let's get further.
If you don't want to face a wrestler that I told you to face, you're fired.
Get exactly, and knowing that his deal is going to be up very soon,
you're fired.
Just
that's literally what you should have done. You're fired.
But that's here nor there. But
go back to UFC. Go back to UFC if you want to choose fights.
But we get to our next match on the card. We had Cody Rhodes and Chad Gable. I thought this match was fantastic between these two.
I really love the fact that they're actually doing something with Chad Gable because now he's in a high-profile match with Cody, who's going after the world title.
And it's like
it shows, and it really shows. I know he lost.
But it was not like a typical. I think this was 15 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah, you're given 15 minutes in a loss. That means the company
is now actually
is thinking about pushing you. They're thinking about
because. I mean, look, Chad Gable was not a bad wrestler by any stretch of the imagination. The dude is fucking talented.
It was basically a tryout match. It was basically a tryout match to see if he could hang with Cody, and he could.
I mean, he did it with flying colors, even though
he did it.
And most of it,
I didn't even care if it was a loss. I didn't even care if it was a loss because I thought of it that way. It's a tryout match. Because if he can hang with Cody, he could hang with damn near anybody in that locker room.
And I'm going to say this too. I think Chad Gable for most of this match was one side in favor of Chad Gable. Chad Gable had most of the offense in. I thought it's like, is really Cody going to lose? But I mean, they're going to keep building up Cody. But knowing that Chad Gable, like you said, Tyler, hung in there, like I said, even with the loss,
they're thinking they're probably looking in the back, Triple H, Vince, and whoever else is back there, looking at this. Okay, this kid's got something.
Because the dude can be a really good Intercontinental Champion or hold the United States Championship.
Yeah. Do I see him as a world champ? Do I see him as a world champion? No.
No,
I don't.
No.
Not with anybody booking the show. Even if I booked the show, I wouldn't put him as a world champion. I wouldn't.
Because
he's more like a mid-carder, but I would have him.
I think he's probably the upper mid-card, not the lower
upper mid-card. He's upper mid-card. He's Intercontinental Champion or U.S. Champion. That's fine.
Or, I mean, he wouldn't be bad as a tag champion either if you put him with a good tag team. But that's
Dude, honestly, I don't know why they're trying to break up Alpha Academy. They're getting over.
I'm still kind of now they're starting to kind of grow on me, even though
at first I'm like, I hate this gimmick. I hate
because
it.
it's like it's not hard to laugh at them.
And then now it's like I'm sitting there saying, "Oh, thank you," all the freaking time.
Shoosh,
shoosh. That got over.
And you can't tell me, but look, I thought it was so far minus that MVP segment. Raw was also a really good start. If you like take out that MVP lounge segment,
yeah, it's a really good start to that.
Well, but we can see our next match was Asuka and Carmella. We know where Carmella stands at in this part of her career.
Skip.
Oh, do you want to go? Do you want to skip the next match? Because that's first of all, what the fuck was that? Candice LeRae pinning Piper Niven? What the fuck?
Skip. Skip right now. Skip it. I'm aggressively pressing the skip button. That sucked.
Skip this one. That was Bobby Lashley and Elias. Nobody cares.
Snooze fest.
Johnny Gargano and Otis. So the next match we had Johnny Gargano taking on Otis. We're going.
This mother. Otis. First, you managed to get Mandy Rose, and now you got freaking Maxine Dupree. What do you have on you, bro?
Like, what do you have that we don't? But you know, I think Otis. I thought it was a really good match between, and I think Otis did pretty well against Johnny Gargano, even though Johnny gets the win. Even though, you know, I don't know, is it crazy to me? I feel like Johnny Gargano, and that's what worries me. Now you got Ciampa on his way back from injury. Now that's going to be interesting to see, or the fact that what's going to happen.
You know what I would do? Do you know what I would do? I would bring back DIY.
That's what I would have done as well.
I would bring back DIY.
See, this is where
put Gargano and Ciampa back together.
Because I mean, if you look at their NXT tag team run,
let them run the tag team division on the main roster. We haven't seen that yet because they had broken up in NXT numerous times,
and we've been clamoring for that for what feels like a couple of years at this point. And
I know it would feel like rinse repeat. I know it would feel like rinse repeat.
But the men's tag division isn't the greatest, so I mean, what do you got to lose?
and then eventually down the line, do the turn.
Because I mean, if you look at when they broke up, I mean that storyline between those two, that was fantastic.
They had amazing freaking matches.
Like they wanted to beat the hell out of each other, or the fact that
they were out for each other's blood in those matches.
And like the last match, you know, you had Johnny Gargano use Ciampa's knee brace to freaking make him tap. Like, come on now, you can't. And also for those who don't remember,
also that match, I think it was no holds barred. So they were fighting every goddamn where.
Exactly.
Every goddamn where. They were on the freaking stage area. They were on like in the crowd. They were near the damn announce tables.
I mean, the dude just, I mean, or like the fact
they were on that little that little stand thing or whatever that they use for like a little standing room like stage area.
Yeah,
they were on that.
And there was a couple times where he got suplexed onto like exposed concrete. I mean, these guys tore the house down, and you can't tell me otherwise. And I will say, and you know, for a little wrestling history, for those who don't remember, back into I think it was like 2004, 2005. You had Tommaso Ciampa as a lawyer. It's just like when I look back, it's like
2004.
What?
2004.
Like
well, actually, no, it was 2000. No, it was 2003.
2003. And when you look back, it's like that. That's
I forgot whose lawyer he was.
Oh, that was fuck. The hell.
Yeah.
But
hold on, let me look this up.
I can't think of his fucking name. I think it could have been Batista. I don't think Batista even had a lawyer. God, I am really. This is interesting. Whew, wow.
Bro, you're gonna cringe.
Oh, I just looked that up too.
He was Muhammad Hassan's lawyer in that feud.
It was July 14th
against Taker.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's right. He showed up in 2005. Oh man, God.
It was that Muhammad Hassan's thing with the whole terrorist thing that happened.
Oh God,
and they had to can that storyline because
that was
the London bombings happened the same time that Taker got attacked by terrorists.
Yeah, that was ugh. He was actually known as Thomas Whitney Esquire. That was his name in 2005.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh, jeez.
That was literally the worst.
The fact that he was actually that's fucking crazy. Like you never know like you never know like some of these stars nowadays like you don't know exactly know they actually made an appearance in WWE. You know, John Moxley on a few dark matches, AJ Styles one point on a dark match.
Bro, John Moxley had pink freaking hair at one point.
That was I'm thinking myself, John, what the fuck were you thinking? But regardless,
dude, you were just on TNA.
Or you had Sean Spears as Stan, who gets super on a going to that super kick straight by Shawn Michaels. See, I just kicked Stan. I was like, come on.
Hey, what's your name? Stan.
Boom.
Stan. Bah, I just kicked Stan.
Or you had Cesaro as a security guard at one point. I think that was in the early 2000s. You had MJF as I think Samoa. No, who was it?
No, it was MJF because Samoa Joe punched him in the freaking chest.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
It was weird because it was at that point where he was a heel elsewhere, but he was a babyface there.
Like it was less like it was kind of cringy weird. Just looking back on it. It's like I said, this is the guy that actually turned to be one of the greatest heels in professional wrestling. Oh, I mean, damn. Or you had who else to that? I can't thinking. I mean,
you had Bobby Roode as a cop.
Yeah, that was that was it. That was something.
That was SmackDown 2001 that he was there. Yeah, him as a cop.
Yeah, you'd be surprised of like many some of the stars nowadays like actually had somewhat of appearance or had like try out dark matches on WWE television or wrestling. Well, dark matches don't happen on television, but it's just like looking back on it, it's just like, man, a young prime Samoa Joe, man, what could I mean? But then again, just
bro, there was a lot of what could have been. You had Samoa Joe in WWF, AJ in WWF. They could have had a run.
Exactly, but
and they didn't because they were thinking they had them in tryout matches. They both didn't even get signed. Then they went to TNA like a year later.
And well, pretty much we know the rest is history because they pretty much fucking killed it in TNA.
Yeah. Or no, you had Joe go to ROH and then he joined TNA eventually. But you had AJ immediately go to TNA.
And he'd be actually one of the biggest megastars. And I mean, but outside of that, you know, it's kind of really funny to look back on it. The fact that you had Tommaso Ciampa as a fucking lawyer in 2005. It was a
cringy feud. You're thinking, ooh, this is not going to go well.
And the gimmick that
this whole thing is not going to go well because you have UPN, who's now CW. Fun fact. The UPN after you because they're like, this is bad. This is bad. You have terrorists on your TV. This is bad.
Yeah, that was wow.
And then they actually had killed off Hassan, and they were going to repackage him. They were going to repackage him, but they ended up not repackaging him.
But I ever know that
they fired him. But then he's better because he's now I think a principal or
he's doing better. Teacher. He's doing better for himself outside.
He's doing a great job. He's good.
I mean, first of all, like that gimmick. Like first of all, you know, in the fact that if I'm mistaken too, like he actually got a tremendous amount of hate too because of before.
And here's the bad part about it: the guy wasn't even Arab; he was Italian.
Exactly. Like it's like
he wasn't even Arab. Like what?
Even though it's
like,
just
how does that make sense?
It really doesn't.
But then again, you had a Samoan play a Japanese guy in the 90s.
Yeah, that was that was something. Well, then again, there's a lot of things back then. You know, I mean, if you look back then some of the shit does not fly. You know, but regardless, then we get to oh boy, this is the one match no one really cared for. It was the main event of Monday Night Raw, the women's tag team title match.
I mean, then again, we kind of did care for it because I mean, Lita's in the match and Becky's over, so we kind of cared.
But yeah, so Lita and we get new
But
tag
no one
champs.
really. But I don't think anybody really cared that much until Trish Stratus came out, and made the save, leading up to that match at Mania, which I am excited for. Genuinely
Exactly.
excited. And it's sad. It's sad that it took a nostalgia trip for me to get excited for this.
Yeah,
A goddamn nostalgia trip.
This is basically what this kind of proves our point. The booking was shoddy. Now I will say, Raw actually that money was actually not bad. Actually, it was decent. There would have been a lot of better things to add to it and replace some stuff. Sure, yeah, you could definitely, and that's actually.
I honestly think Raw was still bad. It was still bad.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it was decent. It was still bad. And what really killed it for me too, I love Trish Stratus, I love Lita, but relying on a freaking nostalgia trip
to save the show is
to
bad.
save the show, to take the titles off of Damage Control because they're not over. For one,
yeah,
but you relied on a nostalgia trip to do it, and I hate that.
Yeah,
I loved what Lita brought to the table in her career. I loved except for the sex stuff, but
yeah, yeah, that was
despite all that. But I respected what Lita did, in her career with her, with her wrestling and her ability and her promo, all the other stuff. I love what Trish brought to the table too. She could wrestle. And she proved to the world, and Lita proved to the world that they're just not pretty faces.
No,
they could wrestle, they could go, but the problem was that you had to rely on them to get a story over.
That was
when they have been long since retired since 2006.
Yeah, it's been 17 long years.
17 years since they were full-time competitors. 17 years. And you relied on them to get a story over. And to get Becky Lynch back over, which was already over.
But the fact that
to get her meteoric again.
Was that's sad.
Very sad. And like I said, I don't hate them. I love Trish Stratus. She's awesome.
And
I love Lita. She's awesome.
It's crazy that
you're using them to get a story over. This is Vince. This is Vince stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, a story's not getting over. Let me make a Band-Aid fix by making it a nostalgia trip.
Yeah, and and I will say, Lita, she didn't really look good in the ring, and I really hate to admit that. And there were some spots where she's
rusty because guess what? She hasn't wrestled in a match with longevity since Evolution, and even then, she wasn't doing much because it was a tag match with her and Trish.
Yeah,
and also before that, she wrestled a freaking squash match against Heath freaking Slater.
Oh yeah, that was I think
in 2011.
Yeah, that was
And then before that, she didn't do anything since 2006 because she was retired.
Yeah, but yeah, the Raw just you could have done so much better in different areas on Monday Night Raw. If I'm going to be completely honest, but next, actually, I think Ty. I don't know if you did. Did you watch NXT this past week or this past Tuesday?
Remember, I texted you with that one segment with Gigi.
Oh yeah, I was watching it. So we kicked off NXT. Yes, I know a lot of it. We had we still had the NXT North American Championship Open Challenge between Nathan Frazier, who actually made his return. The last time we ever seen him was on Halloween Havoc. So from what he actually did look pretty well against Wesley. And let's be real, I think Wesley is fantastic.
I think here's people I am high on in NXT. Wesley, Braun Breaker, Carmella Hayes, and Soruga. Those are my top four. I'm also pretty high on Roxanne Perez. She's kind of grown on me. But those are my top five since I named Roxanne.
Yeah.
But dude, Wesley has been absolutely killing it. in NXT.
That's absolutely as a North American champion. Hell yeah! Well, that leads us to our next match on the card, and it's actually surprising too. Briggs and Jensen taking on Indus-Sher. Now, Indus-Sher, from when I first originally saw this, I was like, okay, this is interesting. But then again, though,
didn't they give them the win this Tuesday?
Yeah, over Briggs and Jensen.
Guess what happened literally a day later? One of the members of Indus-Sher gets fired.
No way.
Legitimately. Yeah.
I didn't.
One of them got fired.
Who?
One of them got cut.
What the fuck?
And no one freaking cares. And no, I think it was. Hold on, let me look it up.
I don't even. Because Indus-Sher, you had Sangha and Veer Mahan, and then you also had Jinder Mahal leading them. I am not a. Oh, you can't tell me otherwise. Hang on, what the fuck? What the hell? There's no way. Yo, what's good, Randy? What is good? There's no way.
No, I lied. I thought I heard somewhere yesterday that Veer Mahan got fired, but he didn't.
And I will say this too: the fact that it actually Veer Mahan, and I really hate to say it, but that's since having Jinder Mahal leading them, because I feel like before Jinder Mahal came to NXT, I think Indus-Sher was not going anywhere. It just didn't feel like they didn't have enough to. I really hate to say get.
I wouldn't have thought that Jinder Mahal of all people,
as much as how much we talk shit on him, and I will admit
his promo work was bad next to absolutely outright terrible. Yeah.
And his wrestling
was honestly improving on all fronts. His promos are pretty decent. His in-ring work, from what I've heard from you, is actually pretty good. I'm like, when did this happen?
And as much as it's crazy too, like how much Veer Mahan has changed since when he first. Remember when all that shit, that debut, or that's like, coming soon, and that kind of crap.
They gave him it was like coming soon. They kept saying coming soon for like a year. I'm like, why do you keep doing this? Because usually when you say that you need to share the vignette and it's like coming soon, it's usually within like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month. This man did not debut for like a year. And people were wondering what the hell is going on. Who the hell is Veer Mahan? And also, why the hell do they keep doing these vignettes when he's not debuting for like a year?
Idea.
A year straight that they've been running these vignettes. But hell, you had guys like Edge get vignettes, and he debuted within a month.
Yeah.
Of those vignettes. Usually that's what happens. Within a month of those within a month of vignettes, your debut within a month.
But I will say, ever since being on NXT, he looks a lot better than when he first looked on the main roster, and I think that's
he's not giving a stereotypical gimmick.
Yeah, and we don't know exactly how we feel on those, but I mean, Indus-Sher does get the win. I think from right now, from what I've been seeing, I think they're going to be building up. Who's to say? I can see this team can actually hang themselves with Gallus. If I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, I think they'll really work well with Gallus.
But
I think they will really. I think I would like them teaming with Gallus, and also their match. Their match was really freaking good.
They're actually entertaining. I know it's crazy.
And I said, and I texted you, I think I actually like Indus-Sher.
Because it's like, because we know the tag team division is actually really good. If I'm going to be completely honest. And I think if we're going to have two dominant tag teams like Gallus and Indus-Sher run the damn thing, I'm all for that. But I mean, regardless, we get to probably the best segment that you and I actually kind of talked about. Gigi Dolan went personal.
Holy shit. I want to talk a lot about this.
This was interesting.
Whoa. She got freaking real with this.
Like,
freaking real.
In the fact that
he goes, the last time somebody stabbed me in the back or betrayed me was my own mother. I go, whoa.
Right, and like she pretty much say, my mom I was like her personal punching bag for years. I was like, damn.
And then he goes, and then I ran away from home with my brother, and I told my brother, I promise you we'll have a better life because I'm going to WWE. And then I'm like, oh shit.
And that leads us to their match at Roadblock, and we'll be live for that
and
as
she
well.
Goes, all the pain that I've felt, I'm inflicting on you.
Like,
I'm like, oh damn.
Like we have not, we not have seen an emotional type of promos in. It feels like forever. I mean, it's like the fact that she even went personal, like, it really does. And that, and who's to say if that was, I could imagine.
No, yeah, I noticed that too because she actually went through that, and she's basically raising her brother. If you look on her story on Instagram,
yeah,
she basically raises her. She basically is like raising her brother.
And at times, too, when I actually listened to that, man, I just felt hurt for her. The amount of shit that she had to go through. But the fact that the
amount of shit her and her brother had to go through with the mom.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts. But
it was like now she's a sympathetic babyface because she's using like her real story into this, which is awesome.
And the fact that we're going to see some, hopefully she whips the living crap out of JC Jane.
I expect her to freaking beat the living holy hell out of it.
I'm sorry, but I think Gigi and JC should go out to like a whole no holds barred match and let these two women.
And I said this too, right? They were calling Gigi the Janetti of this feud.
Yeah,
no,
far off.
No. I think that script got flipped. After last night.
It.
Oh yeah, because when JC cut her promo, no one even gave a shit. Gigi cut hers. Everybody was yelling, screaming, cheering. She got over quick.
Very quick. And I said this all this time too. Like if you have not watched her wrestle, she does better as a singles competitor.
Yeah, she's a better singles competitor than.
And honestly, I think they did a really good job of having her as a baby face. I think,
dude.
Oh yeah, trust me, we're good.
We're good, man.
But trust me,
if they have her lose this match on Tuesday, I'm gonna be upset. I'm gonna be pissed off.
We're gonna all be upset. That's like,
the ball after last night is in her goddamn court. She's got the momentum.
Oh, absolutely.
She's got the momentum.
And the fact that the fact we actually could know the real side of things of Gigi, knowing what she had gone through, but the fact that she's going to turn that into, let's be real, it's probably some.
Honestly, I honestly, you know what I think happened backstage? I think she went to Shawn Michaels, he hugged her, and she probably bawled in his shoulder.
Because I feel like because like you couldn't imagine how much stress that put you. Like, look. A lot of people think looking at it now, like we're all human, and the fact that she had to fucking lock that shit away from what felt from
to see a more human side of Gigi and that real life side of her,
like it's just
it makes you like her even more
because
hell yeah,
like the fact that she actually overcame all the shit that she like we said that she's been put through, her and her brother, and the fact that what I felt,
honestly, after that promo last night, man, I felt bad that I dissed her on an episode of our show.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I felt so bad. I'm like,
oh man, you look.
I am sorry.
Oh, but I think that's probably the best promo that I've seen Gigi cut in the many times that I've watched NXT. It just feels like she does have a better promo ability than JC. In a way, but JC wasn't,
because they allowed like I feel like in NXT they allow the wrestlers to actually speak how they feel, but also tied into the feud, unscripted.
And that in good point.
The fact that she was able to talk about that because most people don't. They keep it bottled up inside. Hey, she just came out with it.
And you could
imagine. You could tell the emotion was real. How she was getting pissed off talking about that situation.
That makes me. That actually, actually, I could have related a lot to that.
I bet you she had that shit bottled up for years. She had that shit bottled up.
And actually, surprisingly,
and she came out with it. And in a promo that's not supposed to be real. She went real with the shit.
Because like she
All
knows
the emotion that she had about the situation where her brother, and her piece of shit mother.
it's
all of that emotion just rushed out.
If I'm Shawn Michaels, man, I could imagine just how much that got.
Like I said, man. Like I said, I bet you amount of money when she got backstage, when they hugged, all she did was lay her head or not, lay her face down on his shoulder and just bawl.
Because can't
tell me she didn't.
Because listen to that though, like in a way, I told people this a lot of times too when I opened up a lot of the people. Like I've been in that, not saying the similar situation, but in a way, I've actually been a part of that. Well, not saying the way that what Gigi went through, but in a way, kind of bottle a lot of stuff that you don't want to talk about. That shit eats you up, and knowing that the fact that when she came out, like you could see that stuff was eating up inside of her, and the fact that she's like, cut this music. Like she was like
No, they cut this music and the whole thing outside, like outside that room when she was walking up. I feel like that was more scripted than her promo, like right there, because it's like because they'll cut this music thing and all their stuff. Like the music sucks, the music's stupid. I'm changing it soon, so you don't have to.
I can't wait to see what her new music is going to be looking like.
That was more so like comedic and scripted. That wasn't real. But when she got in that ring and started talking about, oh, the last person to betray me like you did, JC, was my own mother, and talking about that situation, that was when it got real. That's when the emotion came out.
Like, I was wide-eyed. I was like, no way. On a PG program, and the fact that I have to give her commend the courage.
I don't think it was more so it's a PG issue. It's not. It's the fact that, this was unscripted. A lot of times, WB is just heavily scripted. This was not scripted,
and the fact that
you can tell,
like you could feel that,
you could feel the goddamn emotion through this.
Like I just like Tyler said, I know he looked like it feels super terrible for just.
I was like, I just turned on an episode, and I am sorry.
Oh man, but
like I'm telling you, I am telling you this right now. That was freaking amazing.
That was fantastic. But moving on, we go to a little bit of a segment. I think, with Chase U and Schism, there's a bit of a rivalry between Schism and Chase U. And I think they cut to like a bit
Ava Rain freaks me out.
And the fact that, I mean, Duke, I know he felt bad. And we said it ourselves too the last episode, man, you didn't have to do her dirty like that. Damn. Like we called, but and that was kind of at the end of it. So it's going to be Andre Chase and Joe Gacy on NXT Roadblock this coming Tuesday. So that's going to be interesting to see. Then again, I think this was a really good match too. Mako Satomura taking on Zoe Stark.
Amazing match.
And Mako gets a hard fought win. And let's be real.
They had me and DJ Storms clamoring for her to be in the main roster already.
And he said it too. Like Mako is a machine.
She is. She's a tank. She's a freaking tank.
Because I think she's the one of those kind of women that I think that women's main roster could need.
Yeah.
Because she made look Zoe Stark. Look, we know that Zoe Stark is good, but she made her look really good.
Yeah.
And we get to the next match. This was interesting to say the least. Sol Ruca taking on Elektra Lopez with Valentina Feroz in the corner of Elektra Lopez, but the ending was interesting to say the least.
You had Valentina
steal the brass
knuckles, punch Elektra right in the face,
or just like distract her and let Sol Ruca. Let's be real, that Soul Snatcher is fucking too sweet,
dude. That Soul Snatcher, dude. Oh my god, that's like one of my favorite finishers in the company right now.
It really is. You can't tell me otherwise.
That's great. That kind of reminds me of like it's like an RKO mixed with like cruiserweight shit.
And the fact that and when Soul, I mean, it's very effective, and because we knew that Elektra was going to find a way to cheat And so Valentina pretty much pulled the reverse card. Said, "Look, I had the I will say I will call out to this. You held the brass knuckles wrong. I will. That was my little bit of a nitpick.
Everybody was saying that. Oh, she held it wrong, and I did see that, but I didn't. I really don't think it was
the
an issue.
effectiveness.
It was the fact that you're on live TV. You had to rush.
Yeah.
I don't think she realized it and did the whole thing.
But I mean,
it didn't kill the segment by any means.
But
at all.
I feel like because this was actually, I feel like the last few weeks, like, Valentina wanted to find a way to punch the living crap out of Elektra Lopez. I think the last many times
she kind of gave me babyface vibes. She didn't try to give me heel vibes here. I feel like she gave me babyface vibes. Elektra was trying to influence her to turn, and she wasn't having it. And now it's culminating in now this feud that's building up.
Now I would not be opposed to that because I mean I think Valentina, from what I've seen in a very short sample size of her, I think she's very talented. Don't get me wrong.
Awesome. She's awesome.
And then
I saw a few of her matches when she was on Level Up. She's awesome.
It's fantastic. Then we get to our next match. This also culminated from a backstage segment. Boy, talk about having a voice that like feels like nails on the chalkboard. That is Tiffany Stratton.
Bro, my dude, her character was so freaking good. I'm watching with my mom and my dad, and my mom goes, "I want to climb the TV and punch her in the face." I go,
"Oh yeah." I was like, "Damn," but I mean,
and that's how you know her heel work is that good. When you legitimately want to climb in the TV and punch somebody in the face.
But she's another one.
Here's the thing. That was me with Miz for a while.
Oh yeah, I think that was.
I legitimately hate the guy.
Honestly, I will admit, Tiffany Stratton, I can see her. She's another one. She's kind of growing on me. She's another one I can see could potentially be the next NXT Women's Champion because there's a lot
Tiffany Stratton's growing on me too. Like, and her voice isn't as annoying as it was.
Yeah, so it looks like she's getting better with the promo work. So
for me, she was trying to do this high pitched voice thing.
Oh, that just like
she's kind of like deepened her voice a bit, and it's kind of like less chalkboardy.
And Katana, and obviously with Katana Chance, even though Katana's in the way in that backstage statement, it's just like tell her like drop the like detective bullshit and say lace up your boots and like the one little misplay on that moonsault. I mean, she did get the win though, regardless. Even though let's be real, probably botched the moonsault, but that's here nor there. But still, she's got the win out of the way. And it was interesting because now I'm very intrigued to see who else is going to be in that kind of title picture because we know that Tiffany Stratton is one of them. Cora Jade, Braun. I will say this, Braun. What the fuck, man? Sorry, did you not see the TikTok I sent you?
Dude, you spammed me with that shit. I'm like, dude, calm down.
Yeah. Damn it. But she's another Cora Jade's another one I could see. I don't know. Is she even ready for the title, women's title? Because
who, Cora Jade?
Yeah, I think she might be ready. Well, I mean,
she's basically a shoo-in because she keeps dissing Roxanne.
So yeah, I mean, geez, who else can I think that's another option? Could be another. Because you got Tiffany Stratton. For me, I think she'll make a good women's champion. Same with Cora Jade. She's another one. I can't think of anybody else in that women's division because that's a really good women's division if you think about it.
Yeah,
but
that whole women's division's really stacked.
And I
can't tell you who else should be in
like
that.
There's just really different stars in the making on NXT.
Yep.
But we get to Axiom taking on Hank Warwick. This all sends back to the opening of the show, kind of like a mad dash to who's the first one to the ring. Unfortunately, Axiom gets caught in the crossfire with Hank Walker after Drew Gulak kind of turned his back. And now it's interesting now that Drew Gulak's now working with Charlie Dempsey from a guy that really was a thorn in the side. So it's kind of basically the fact that if you can't beat them, then join them, basically. And that's kind of what's going on with those two. And I mean, you cannot tell me. I mean, Axiom is so fucking entertaining. What the?
Oh, he's awesome. He's awesome.
He's another guy that I can see. I think he should be my primary guy to take the NXT North American Championship away from Wesley.
Oh, for sure.
Even though after, oh geez, I mean, there's a couple of matches where even Jaden McDonough, or for those who don't remember NXT UK, Jordan Theva. First of all, the fact that he almost broke his leg in a way that your legs are not supposed to bend, like damn.
I'm like, ooh, his leg's not supposed
That's
to go
like
that
no,
far.
it's like, but Axiom does pick up the win. And towards the end, Axiom did show some good sportsmanship with Hank Walker and stuff like that. So they're going to continue. I would not be surprised because I think Hank Walker's got potential from what I've seen. And then we get to the main event: Carmelo Hayes and Tyler Bate. Now, either way, I mean, you can't. Boy, if you can't tell me,
Both guys are impressive. That was like one of my favorite matches on NXT this Tuesday.
It's
What is
just,
that?
it was like you had two guys that were evenly matched with one another. It's like, damn, it's like, but Carmelo picks up the win, and obviously, for good reason. I mean, I think he's going to be the next guy to take away that NXT. Can someone please put the damn belt on Carmelo Hayes? That's all we ask, for crying out loud.
I feel like it's gonna happen at Stand and Deliver. I
That's
really
going
do.
to be
Because I feel like the Raw after Mania. I think that's when Braun is gonna make his debut, or maybe the SmackDown after Mania. I don't know what brand he's gonna go to, but I feel like he's gonna get the call up
see
soon.
So John Ellis, so this is an interesting question. So John Ellis, do you think they will have? I should give her a little bit more time with the belt.
Yeah, I don't think she's not losing a belt this early.
No, this is what 3 months in, or how long has it been?
3.
Feels like about 4 months.
She won it 4 months ago.
So I say give me about a year with her.
Yeah, honestly, I would give her maybe 6 months to a year.
6 months to a year in that time frame because I mean, look, before she won the title, man, look at the difference that Jamie Hayter has made since then.
She went from being super fucking green in the ring, and I did not like her.
Yeah,
I did not like her to start because she could not wrestle. But she could not wrestle a lick. She was botching heavily. Her character, like everything about her was just like not clicking for me. Now she's starting to click.
And it's just like I think
her ability has gotten better. Her character abilities her character work's gotten way better.
Even better.
The crowd loves her.
I have a gut feeling
the crowd's buying into her. So that makes me buy into her.
And the fact that she has her finishing called the Haterade, I mean, I love it. I love
Haterade. I love that name for finisher. The finisher's actually clean too. I like that.
It's really nice. I bet there's probably one of the few reasons I think she gotten better. One, I think she probably worked a lot with Britt Baker, who's been around the block and doing it. So I think she's another one that she's kind of learned from. There's probably a lot of others that I can't think that has kind of helped her along the way in that time frame.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, I don't like her to start, but I was saying I'm gonna wait a while.
And that wait was well worth it.
I'm gonna wait a while. I'm gonna wait a little bit. I'm gonna wait a while, see if she gets better. Sure enough, a year later, 2 years later, she is way better.
And
actually, a year later, because she debuted in 2021, early 2021.
Yeah.
So after a year, she's gotten better in the ring. Her character works great. She's over with the fans. Fans love her.
And promo works a whole lot better.
Her promos. But here's the thing. I don't think she's spoke that first year. She did not speak at all. Didn't say a word.
No.
This year she's been speaking a lot. Her promo work is amazing.
It's like, and that
everything about her now is checking out.
You can
she's checking the boxes, so to speak.
And yeah, exactly. And then you're more invested into that at the same time, so you actually can take her more seriously. But now, I want to kind of skip AEW because AEW was not great, so to speak. So we'll move on from that.
I actually enjoyed it. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it.
AEW Dynamite.
Yeah.
Actually, now I think about it, screw it. Let's just go right through it. So we open up with Orange Cassidy and Big Bill. That was actually really good for what it was.
Phenomenal match. And I like that as a starter match. Loved it as a starter match.
And then we get to what I think was one of my favorite matches of the night was the Face of the Revolution ladder match.
Dude, that match was balls to the wall crazy. You can't tell me
that's just a car crash of a match.
Spots that happened in this match.
That's just like,
the one spot that made me go holy shit was the Sammy Guevara freaking 450 off the ladder onto another ladder.
And
here's the thing. The ladder was like 15, tall as shit.
Yeah, because like you'll have one of these tall ladders that, what we've seen over the years, with some amazing spots, and he hits the 450 on an Axel Andretti and bends the other ladder in half. Jeez, I couldn't
I'm
imagine.
like, holy.
But
dude, I was hyped. I was hyped.
It's just like you don't exactly know who was going to win because everyone was like, it's like a mad dash to the brass ring.
The only one that really didn't do much was AR Fox. He just kept getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, that was.
He didn't get any offense.
And I love AR Fox too, man. And
he was just getting his ass kicked.
But we did see Powerhouse Hobbs getting the opportunity and grabs the brass ring.
Yes.
Honestly, it's about time actually AEW finally realizes that Powerhouse Hobbs, I mean, for what he is, face value, that dude's a star to fucking make. You can't tell me otherwise. And I really hate to say that. As much as I know I know Mitch did, but
Mitch don't like him. He don't even like Orange Cassidy.
Oh, come on. But I think Powerhouse Hobbs,
that whole entire show, we were just chanting freshly squeezed at him. He was getting annoyed.
Oh, that's funny. But then we get to another match. This is pretty much a squash match on the card. It was Chris Jericho taking on Pretty Peter Avalon. Obviously, Chris Jericho gets the win in relatively ease.
I will say this. I'm glad that Peter Avalon did get some offense in early on the match.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta book him better because you gave him a serious character.
Yeah, I think after what
now with that haircut and the beard,
because he feels like you can take him more seriously that way.
And now he's cutting serious promos. He's beefed up a bit. If you noticed, he's not scrawny anymore. He's
not like when he was with the what was the Librarians? I think it was with the tag team.
The Librarians with him and Leva Bates.
Another one that's she's nowhere to be.
He's gotten screwed. She's stuck. I think she's stuck on Dark still.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So Chris Jericho, like I say, squashed. Like I said, got Peter Avalon got a little bit of offense in. But now we get to Adam Page cutting his own promo with doing his promo and same with John Moxley.
I'm going to say this. Judging on those promos, right? Judging on those promos. The match at Revolution is going to be a bloodbath.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be an absolute bloodbath. Blood's going to be shed.
And the fact that, I mean, even John Moxley, man, like, boy.
Mox looked like a freaking ketchup packet. Blood's spewing out of his eyeball.
And you already see it dropping onto the floor, like still dripping on the floor.
Dropping on the floor. Oh my God.
I'm really excited for this. This match I'm actually really excited for because if it delivers, because even Hangman says, like, I hate violence. And the fact that we're going to see a different side of Hangman Page, oh boy, that crowd's going to eat that shit up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Revolution to be really good this year. Then we get an in-ring interview with Christian Cage, and this was very interesting. It is crazy too. People really take for granted how really good Christian Cage works as a heel, though. People don't understand how good he is as a heel, though. Mm-hmm. And then we get to the lights out, and then we see Jungle Boy. This was very cryptic as hell. It's like, what match are we going with here? Are we doing a Buried Alive match? What are we going with?
It was announced it was no holds barred today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm all for it. So
it's basically saying, you mentioned my father, you're dead.
Oh yeah, dude. I don't know Jungle.
Basically,
I want to see the different side of Jungle because I think Jungle Boy at some point you have to really whenever
he's going to be more so. His character is now more so aggressive and psychotic in a way, which I like.
I mean, I'm digging it. Let these two men beat the hell out of each other because first of all, this will extend to the fact that and the fact that he went. Let's be real. God rest Luke Perry. I mean, let's be real. Very underrated actor, by the way. But the fact that Christian Cage, taking the low shots. Oh, that's going to really eat up Jungle Boy going into Revolution.
He did it months ago when, before he got hurt. He did it months ago.
Like
jabbed at his father.
That's like, yes, like,
then he did it again. And Jungle Boy, it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a fight.
And then we get to our next match on the card. So Matt Hardy versus. So if Hook wins, he gets like a match with Stokely Hathaway. That's no DQ, but everybody else is banned from ringside. And Oh, good luck, Stokely Hathaway. Holy crap, that dude looked like he was ready to shit his pants.
This man was like, no, this man was literally like on the ground, knees up, and he's like rocking back and
Like
forth,
he's like
scared shitless.
because he's gonna get fucked up by Hook.
He's like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
I'm really digging Hook though, man. As much as for even though just Hook is just something else, man.
Hook,
I mean,
Hook is a different breed. He's a different freaking breed. His character work is awesome. As this like anti-hero who just doesn't speak, doesn't say a word.
It's just, and it's actually making the as much as we kind of shit on the FTW championship, but he's actually making that thing work, like actually worth something.
He's elevated a title that's not even recognized as a legitimate title in AEW.
But it's actually, and at some point, like, and he's actually done a really good job of that. And the fact that, and it's surprisingly, just how much, like, he may not be jump off you the paper, but his strength is, he'll catch you by surprise just how strong he truly is. I mean, think about it. T2 Big Bill like a couple weeks back. That dude's like over 300 fucking pounds right over his head. Like, he did it with fucking ease.
Yeah.
It's sus. But Hook does get the win on a very quick tap by Matt Hardy. Let's choke his ass out. But
I was like, oh god damn, I'm gonna die.
But then we get to Riho and Tony Storm. I actually really liked this match for what it was.
I didn't. The finish ruined it for
me. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
Completely ruined it for me.
On paper, I thought this match was gonna be good on paper. But like I said, I finished.
Here's the problem that I had. You had Ruby Soho come out and basically distract.
I thought that was Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. That was the first to come out.
No, it was the first, and then I think you had Ruby Soho after.
And then and that was Ruby Soho following afterwards.
Oh no, that was after the match. No, you had Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter distract Tony Storm, and then you had that stupid roll up that didn't even look good because basically, here's Riho, right? She's basically my height and my weight,
and she's also got to think that it's been a while since she's kind of wrestling on TV. So, and
then you have Tony Storm, who's significantly bigger than Riho
and stronger.
You had Riho roll her up, almost fall over, rolling her up.
Yeah, that was yikes.
It was bad.
Well, Riho does get the win.
The match was pretty good, but the finish sucked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was good to the point where the finish just. I mean, I don't know, but then we cut to a backstage promo. This was interesting. Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes cutting a bit of a tag team promo.
Yeah, now you got the Limitless Naturals or the Naturally Limitless.
Yeah,
team.
and that's I'm digging that tag team name already.
Naturally Limitless. I like that.
And then taking on the Mogul affiliates, sign me up for that shit.
Yeah,
because actually it makes more sense because I mean Keith Lee's been on the short end of it. Same with Dustin Rhodes, makes perfect sense.
Yep.
And then
story calls for it,
and it absolutely. But now we get to the tag team battle royal for a Revolution.
Again, good match.
The finish
finish. Crappy freaking finish. You have two comedy wrestlers win the match
because you can have the Lucha Bros,
freaking Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. I love them individually. I find Danhausen pretty freaking funny.
Yeah,
I find Orange Cassidy funny. I don't mind him holding the All Atlantic title. Fine, cool.
Because like you had other tag teams you could think of. Top Flight, Lucha Bros, the Butcher and the Blade is another one I could think of. Aussie Open
that's what makes it bad. Because the last team
I love Aussie
was
Open.
Butcher and the freaking Blade.
And they're gonna get
They should have won the match.
I mean, you could not go wrong with any of the teams that were in that battle royal, if I'm going to be completely honest.
You had the Kingdom in there. Love the Kingdom.
Yeah. Aussie Open's another one.
Aussie Open, love them.
Very entertaining when I actually watch some of their matches in New Japan.
Yeah, countless teams you have.
Who else?
Who else?
Yeah, the Lucha Bros.
No, the Lucha Bros, yeah. But they've already had a title shot and won the title. So I wasn't mad that they were out.
Top Flight.
They should have definitely won. Definitely should have won.
Yeah, I agree. But like I said, there's no you can't nothing to do that to change that. Then we get to the nitty gritty towards the end of the show, the Bryan Danielson promo segment. Can we talk about just oh boy?
Bro. We had MJF come out and Bryan Danielson absolutely buried this guy on the mic. Took him out on the mic. Because as before MJF could have said anything, Bryan Danielson goes, "Shut up, I'm speaking." And then the entire time, freaking Bryan Danielson was absolutely dissing him for a good 15 minutes that this was happening.
And towards the end was interesting.
And MJF said nothing.
Like you do not see, like you can't.
And at the end, he looked absolutely intimidated.
Like you could see fear in that man's eyes. Like
you could see fear, actual fear in him.
And the fact that he said, "I'm going to kick your effing," or "You're going to get your effing head kicked in," and the fact that they muted that sense of that,
bro, we're already an hour in, so you're not going to get demonetized.
Oh yeah,
you're going to get your fucking
head kicked in, and the fact that someone actually
and they bleeped it out because it was on network TV, PBS, so you couldn't really say it. Somebody found an uncensored version of it online and posted it.
That's
and I sent it to you.
Like I shook my head, like what?
And I was like, whoa.
But oh man, that is like you can't tell me like that's the first time you ever can see.
MJF said nothing.
Like you've never seen MJF.
Bryan Danielson didn't even allow it to happen.
Because like you knew this was coming. And the fact that, especially if you looked at last week, the fact that MJF went low. And if you talk about what I'm talking about, the fact he mentioned Birdie on television, you knew that was going to eat it. That was going to piss off Bryan Danielson even more.
Dude.
And the fact he actually took out his own shots too. It's like, no wonder why your fiance left you. It's like, oh, yeah. No, well, in a way, yes, but dude, the way how Danielson came up with us, like, bro, what the hell was that?
Danielson absolutely freaking murdered him on the mic.
Like, I've never seen a superstar ever do that to MJF, like make him look like a complete noob on the mic.
And we already knew how good Bryan Danielson was on the mic because we've seen it before. But in WWE, he was kind of tamer.
But the fact that
here in AEW,
woo,
oh boy,
that's something else.
Took a freaking cake for me with Bryan Danielson.
I thought
damn cake.
I mean, wow! Like I rewatched that. It's like, shit.
That whole thing was an absolute goddamn thrashing.
Yeah, that was wow. That was it. I thought
the fact that MJF sold it looking absolutely freaking petrified. Like, holy shit, this guy's going to kick my ass on Sunday.
Well, I think we all know that MJF.
I'm in for it.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be, I know it's going to be a bloodbath. I know that for a fact.
Bro, this match is going to be a freaking, I don't know.
Like, it's like.
This is going to be war.
It's like, who's going to be the last man standing? Is it going to be MJF or is it Bryan Danielson? For me, I think, if we're going to have the prediction, I think MJF's retaining.
Yeah, he's retaining. I think the reason why they gave Bryan Danielson all that promo spot
is trying to build
was because they were going to get the face over, but they all knew, everybody knows the face isn't going to win. The heel is going to come up and have his come up.
And the fact that you had, and look, as much as I know people a lot of hate MJF, and the fact that, and give credit to where credit is due, the fact that he still keeps kayfabe alive, and the fact that. And people don't understand like how good he keeps
off kids at meet and greets.
Like the dude stays true to his craft. Like you don't see that nowadays. Like people just like will show like the real side of things, and the fact that, and the fact that he's a good seller too. And like you said, the fact that he's look petrified as hell, like
he looked absolutely intimidated and scared.
I was even scared. It's like, no, what? Like I even froze. I was like, just watching. It's like, damn. I was like, I could have.
Dude. When we were doing the show last night, me, Earl, and Jeff, and whoever, I know Mitch. It was just me, Earl, and Jeff. We all shut up and just stared at the TV screen as he's yelling and talking on the mic.
But
we shut up and listen.
I was like, wow. Like,
and we were hung on to every single word. We all we all in unison just looked at our TV screens and shut up and listened.
Yeah, that is fucking nuts. But now we're gonna move on to some topics because I know we're almost about almost 2 hours in. Shit.
Yeah, because we talked a lot about the show. We spent like the good 40 minutes just now
nice
putting over Bryan Danielson.
Not just that, I mean it's a good breakdown of some other shows as well. But the
and
one
also
thing,
I ranted for a good
oh yeah, that was well deserved.
about minutes to start.
But one thing I want to talk about, and like I said, this is the one story I want to kind of get my 2 cents in, was Sonya Deville arrested on gun possession charges here in Jersey. You know, the way that I see it, I can't blame her for having a gun, and one for a specific reason. Because remember the situation that kind of occurred with a couple of years ago.
After that, she's been absolutely petrified and stuff like that. So but here's the thing: I'm not going to label her as some criminal and stuff like that. She got arrested over not having a license for a gun.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say that. Like she's out there, with an unlicensed gun, getting ready to murder somebody. She's not. She's got the gun in her
for protection
glove box in her car because she's scared for her life because of this stalker situation that she was.
I think it was about 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
3 years ago, when a guy was stalking her because he had a crush on her.
If I'm not mistaken, she actually found her house. If I'm not mistaken, too.
Yeah, he found her house.
I was like,
but here's the thing: he was going to lose anyway because he didn't even have a chance with her because she's gay.
Oh, that too. But
it's a whole one-sided thing, dude. Like, what's the point?
It really is. And it's
and now she's rightfully scared for her life. She's scared.
Because I know,
and that's the reason why she had a gun. She has a gun, but the whole thing is the reason why she got arrested because she didn't have a license for it.
Yeah, and we know how Jersey's very strict with the gun laws.
Jersey is very strict with guns.
Now,
very strict.
But we know that it's going to get thrown out. I mean, I think she's going to find a way to get it registered with Jersey, and one way or the other. But
here's the thing: I don't think I think she's out. She's out, and stuff like that. She's out of jail.
Oh yeah, like I said, they're
going to because having no license, and she wasn't getting ready to harm somebody. That's when you get like prison sentence.
Oh yeah.
But she's out. I feel like she's gonna get a license.
Yeah, and actually register with the state, stuff like that.
I made a mistake. Whoops, I didn't get a license for. It's like having no license for a car. Whoops, I didn't get a license for a car.
Yeah, that's. But the next thing I want to kind of talk about, because like I said, we don't want to go too much further. We saw that Vicky Guerrero's leaving AEW. I think she did kind of hint at retirement.
She's retiring. She's been in the business for so long.
Good for her though, man. As much as Lord, I just hate her. God, there was no many times I get a fucking headache from listening to that. But the fact that she can generate that kind of heat on WWE or AEW television is fantastic. And she's done a lot. I'll have to give her where credit is due. Knowing that after 2005, after Eddie passed, it's like. You could imagine, like, especially that toll that took on her in a way.
And you couldn't ask for a better career for such a good person, because she's a great person off TV. Great person. She even cracks jokes in her TikToks, which makes me laugh.
And it's,
So she's a great person. She likes to joke around with fans.
And it's just, more. I'm very happy for the kind of career that she's had.
She had a great
I think she probably wanted to be. I have to put her on one of the top of my list when it comes to having managers of all time. And she
put her in the Hall of Fame.
Oh man, and please do. You did it with Eddie. Is it Eddie in there? I don't think he is.
No, Eddie isn't in the Hall of Fame.
Now, put those two in there for crying out loud.
Put them two in there. Yep.
But. It's just like the fact that she actually, for one point though, with her and Nyla Rose, before, I thought actually was I was actually kind of invested in that kind of person. I really like that.
I really did too.
The fact that even when I think it was this, I thought that, but regardless, congrats to whatever Vicky Guerrero was going to do in her life. She's done so much, not to mention, like I said, losing Eddie in 2005, I could imagine, looking back on this, it's like,
No, I will say this. I will say this though. WWE handled that situation tremendously with
yeah,
her. Because they're like, I know Eddie died, but you still have a job here with us. We'll give you a job. And they gave her a job as a
yeah.
manager for numerous wrestlers. They kept her and her family and have expenses.
It's like, because you could imagine how much of that toll, not just for that. I mean, you can imagine that the toll took on Chavo, losing his uncle.
Yeah, you
It's
could see it when he died and how emotional he was and how bad he bawled.
Especially with Vicky too. Like, she just lost her husband to he was not even fucking 40. Like, what are we doing?
He just randomly dropped dead in a hotel room.
At the age of 35, if I'm not mistaken. Early 30s.
I think he was 38, 39 when he died.
Like, he didn't reach 40. Like, it's just
no, I think he was 35 when he died. But
man,
but he just randomly he was brushing his teeth, getting ready for a show, and he just randomly drops dead.
And he could have been, but I mean, it's just really it's kind of hard now looking back on it, because it's just the kind of legacy that Eddie has left behind. It's kind of hard not to think about just how, like I said, Eddie had this bit of a legacy where, let's be real, probably the greatest moments that I mean, damn, I mean, him and Mr. Kennedy, when he just
he literally held his head. He was like, "Ooh, ooh, ooh, ow!" And then he looks at Mr. Kennedy and the refs.
He just smacked the chair on the mat, and you could not tell me a lot of wrestlers.
Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Right, he smacked the chair on the mat. He goes down. No, he tosses it at Mr. Kennedy when he's down on the ground. And then what made me crack up, right, is when after the match he's faking like he gets it in the head. The ref turns away for a second. He goes, "Did you?" And he goes, "Ah." I'm cracking up.
And it's crazy too. Even though he was super over though, which is crazy. Even though I think he was a heel at the time, if I'm not mistaken, too.
No, he had just finished the heel run. He was back to being a babyface.
Yeah, and the fact that he could still.
Because remember, him and Batista were a tag team at that point.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
They were both babyfaces.
But I feel like looking back on it, we know that the passing of Eddie has affected both Chavo and Vicky. But I feel like what hurts the most is with Ray, because you can see how much the kind of friendship that those two have had.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Ray. When Ray found out, he was distraught. He was
like,
he was out.
I felt super bad for Ray. Like, my heart sunk for Ray. You lose your closest best friend, and I could say a godfather to Dom. And even though that's probably one of the greatest matches that those two have put on, but
craziest the craziest freaking feud, man. Craziest feud.
But you can imagine what Dom might be thinking too. It's just like, and Eddie would definitely be proud of Dom, of where he's at in Dom's young career.
Yeah, Dom. He's probably smiling down at Dom. But back to Vicky though. Let's not end on a somber note. She's a legend in her own right.
Even though when her say just yell "excuse me" on TV, just wants to make you want to get earmuffs.
She got 2 words over. Excuse me.
Exactly, and she had I think if I'm not mistaken, she got her own T-shirt made too, if I'm not mistaken too. At one point, I think Vicky had her own merch line or something like that. Had word excuse.
It said "excuse me" on the shirt.
I mean, if you can get it over, you got it over, and she did it fantastically. Now, granted, she's been that's where some of the matches that she quote unquote been in. It was yikes. I would say.
Remember when she had a match at Mania against freaking Snooki?
Oh, I forgot. God, why did
that was the worst match on the card? That was
or Mania. The fact she had
that was Mania. I think it was Mania 2011 or 2012.
Or was it or she had like a mud pit fight or something like that, and like a kiddie pool or something like that. So I remember that one.
That was her. That was her and goddamn Stephanie. And Stephanie won the match.
Oh my gosh, that's like, what the hell is this?
You know how she won? She didn't even freaking get into the mud thing. She just pushed her in the freaking mud.
Yeah. It's like, but like I said, congrats to a legendary career. That is Vicky Guerrero. But there's a couple more things I want to kind of go over a little bit. There's been rumors that Cameron Grimes is quote unquote expected to be called up after WrestleMania. So
good. That man needs to. He's a star.
Yeah, I mean, either way, you can't go wrong with Cameron Grimes, Braun Breaker. If it's Braun Breaker, I would not be too upset about it because either way, you can't go wrong. Who do you bring
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we did get some unfortunate news like a couple days ago that Fuego del Sol, who I think is very entertaining to watch, unfortunately fractured his foot in 5 different places. Oh,
I mean, it's not. I love Fuego, and I hope he heals up. But it's not like he was doing anything in AEW
that is true.
because he's being booked super poorly, super poorly.
Yeah, so I mean, but
He was given a TV spot on Rampage one time where he wins a match and Sammy Guevara gives him a contract.
Yeah,
After that, he was AWOL. Back on Dark. Back on Dark you go.
But my thing is too, it's just like, especially so far though, like who kind of really stood out to me, and not just for AEW, but just from wrestling purposes. The one guy that I actually feel like for me that stood out a lot, especially let's go into ties into AEW, was Commander in that ladder match.
Me and Earl were like shitting a brick over one spot where he tight roped pretty quickly with balance, great precise balance on the ring rope, and then flipped off the damn turnbuckle at the other end.
That like, see, this is why a lot of times I feel like luchadors sometimes they don't get the respect that they truly deserve because they could put up a lot.
Luchadors are a different freaking breed.
I mean, think about it. The Lucha Bros, like they know how to put on fantastic matches.
You have them freaking tight roping with balance on a rope.
It's like you have Commander, like who's known for doing that kind of stuff. And I actually watched some of his highlights down at like AAA and stuff like that. It's like damn, like I'm surprised no one ever get a chance to take a look at him. Like the dude's is a tremendous.
Dude, I did the same thing right after that match. I went to right after the event. I went to freaking YouTube, looked up Commander.
Like this dude just,
and I'm like, holy shit!
Like, could you imagine just have a triple threat match with the Lucha Bros and Commander just in one match? Like, bro, just have it all.
My brain could not comprehend that happening.
No, I think nobody could because they could just tear that damn house down as it is. Yeah. But outside of that, we're gonna wrap it up here. Because like I said, I had other stuff, but we kind of run a little bit on time because we kind of really just did talk about it. We got Roadblock coming up, which is, I think a yearly themed episode before. I think it's kind of like in a way, how could I describe it? It's kind of like how like you have the Elimination Chamber on the main roster, but you have like a themed kind of show, like kind of like a segue going into the Stand and Deliver this coming April.
Here's a better analogy. It's what Impact used to do. They used to have like shows that were normally pay-per-views, but sometimes they would use those pay-per-views as like a weekly episode of Impact back in the day.
I remember though.
They're doing that in NXT now.
Yeah, and so that's where, because from what we've been seeing, they're going to continue storylines and kind of keep building up to Stand and Deliver. But like I said, we got Stand and Deliver April 1st, 1 o'clock start. Actually, surprising early start time for Stand and Deliver was at 1 o'clock Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific. And we got a lot of other stuff planned ahead of time for you guys. We'll be back at again, like I said, on Tuesday, even though I haven't seen this. First time actually having this guy back on NXT.
That's gonna be a rare occasion, guys. I'm sorry, but I don't do NXT that much.
Yeah, so we're gonna have that two together. We'll be back at it again. I'll be back at it again, like I said, for Stand and Deliver. And then
I'll be on that too. I'll be on that.
Yeah, and then we'll be back at it again for SmackDown, Raw, and stuff like that. Like I said, we got enough planned. But with that being said, if you guys are new, make sure you hit.
Also, when are we gonna do like talking about baseball and stuff?
We do have. Oh, yeah, that's right. We do have the Phillies Talk podcast coming Tuesday at 6 o'clock Eastern time.
Let's put that over. Forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot that. And then we'll be back at it again. Like I said, Tuesday. We got a lot of good lined up playing for you guys. But with that being said, I mean, it's been kind of fun. The fact we did our first 2-hour show, it's been fantastic. Like I said, apologies for the rant and stuff like that. I mean, we had to get it all out of the way. Yes, I know what we're kind of,
don't apologize for something that everybody is thinking about that situation, man. Because Nobody's happy about it.
or I'm sorry, or it turned a little bit somber of, kind of reminiscing on Eddie Guerrero at one point.
Don't apologize with that either, because everybody thinks about that too.
But with that being said, if you guys are new, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because it's been kind of fun. And with that being said, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.